Everyone loves a good story. The underdog fights and wins. Two people find each other and fall in love. The man saves the girl saves the man. A broken person gets their revenge. The comic relief does something cool. The hero comes home. I swear this video is not about The Princess Bride. A few years ago, I got asked by one of the guys at my church to run a Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the Lord of the Rings. This would be a massive undertaking if I were to do this. I've only ever watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I've only started reading The Hobbit, but I haven't finished it. Otherwise, I haven't read any of Tolkien's work or watched the Hobbit movies, and at least 4 people that wanted to play were absolute Tolkien nerds. Anything I made would have to be on point. I couldn't pull from any other material like Skyrim that I had experience with. It had to be from Tolkien's world. What made this pressure worse was people kept asking me to run their campaigns. By my math, it was somewhere around 20 people. So that got me thinking.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
I started building my own world with lore and history and mythology and symbolism and all the depth that I could pull into it myself. This has been a massive undertaking, and I'm nowhere near done. I've made maps, songs, and at this point even a video game based in the world, and still, I only have maybe 2 of the 9 houses fleshed out and years of lore I need to write. And the reason I know this is I keep asking myself the question, why? Why are there 9 houses? Why was the world made? Why did the Savirs separate themselves from the rest of the Vir? Why did the elves consider themselves greater beings? What's the purpose of the Great Time Wall? I know that last one is a what question instead of a why. Give me a break. This kind of childlike questioning came up again recently with a game that I've been making for a class that takes inspiration from Alien Isolation and Stranger Things. As we've been building up the levels, I started asking myself questions. What kind of experiments were done here? What was the cover-up? What were the scientists telling themselves to feel okay about it? And these questions are informing the type of story my team wants to tell in the world design that we have throughout the game. Which brings me to video games. There's no shortage of great stories games with amazing stories dating back longer than I've been around. Hundreds of thousands of people have cried at Arthur Morgan, witnessed the Bite of 87, saved Hollowness by defeating the Radiants, captured Berlin with Reznov, and saved Tamriel. Twice. But what made all these stories so engaging? The writers kept asking questions. It's these questions that allow us to see deeper into our world and by proxy allow us to dive deeper into these worlds, understand the richness of their characters, and truly fall in love with the games we're playing. All that being said, I want to dive deeper into 3 games and see what kind of questions they cause us to ask and why the games have us ask those questions.
Hope this interaction doesn't lead to any kind of fallout between us. Fallout New Vegas.
There's no amount of glazing that hasn't been given to Fallout New Vegas. There's so much here. I honestly could have made the entire video on New Vegas. The game causes so many subconscious and conscious questions, it's actually really impressive. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that video. But for the sake of this video and being able to move on, we're only going to talk about the intro. There's 3 parts of the intro. The first can be summarized as, who? Huh? Who are these guys? Who are those guys? What's that flag? How's the Vegas Strip still standing? Why is this area so structurally different than Fallout 3? New Vegas gives us so many questions, especially if we're new to the series or I've only played Fallout 3. It makes us curious about this world and why and how it works. Part 2 answers some of those questions with the PowerPoint and allows us to understand the climate we're walking into, but still gives us more questions that we don't have the answers to. These guys are here, those guys are there, they don't like each other and fought a war about it, but who is Mr. House? Is he why Vegas is still standing? What are the cons?
What's the deal with airplane peanuts?
Part 3 sets us up for the story. This is what I really want to look at. Both parts 1 and 2 present a bunch of interesting questions about the world, but have failed to answer a very important question. What does this have to do with me? Part 3 answers that question with 3 more questions. Who is this? What is that? Why am I dying for it? New Vegas uses these questions the player has about the world, about themselves, to push the player into the plot. Since it's so open, the player could hypothetically go anywhere and do anything, but because the intro specifically made the player ask these 3 questions, suddenly we have a direction that we want to go because we need to know the answer of those questions. Alright, I'm done glazing New Vegas. Next up is Halo Reach.
The game was rigged from the start.
I feel like Reach doesn't get talked about enough for how good of a story it is. It really is phenomenal, and it actually exists to answer questions posed in the first 3 Halo games about what the Covenant did to Reach, and why it seems to be a driving force for the humans to defeat the Covenant. Spoilers!
Everyone dies. Literally everyone dies.
This is another game I could very easily go on about for hours, but I want to zoom into a specific character and talk about him. This is George. By the time of this game's release, George was the largest Spartan we've ever seen, and he is stated to be a threat by the other members of Noble Team. Yet when we see him at the beginning of the game, we see his kindness. He takes off his helmet to talk to a girl and make sure she's okay. He shows compassion when she says her father's dead. He's this hulking mass of power, and yet is delicate with his treatment of others, and it makes us wonder, why? What motivates him? Skipping forward in the story, there's a mission where George and Noble Six are stuck on a Covenant Corvette trying to figure out how to arm a bomb and leave, and George realizes that someone's going to have to arm the bomb manually, and instead of having you do it, he throws Noble Six off the ship and arms the bomb himself, killing himself for the sake of saving Reach, which is immediately nullified when other Covenant Corvettes appear. It again begs the question, why? What is his motivation? Why would he sacrifice himself? Bungie uses these questions to cause us to get closer with these deeply human characters. We feel what they feel. If you started asking yourself these questions at the beginning of the game, you grieve George and everyone else throughout the game. These questions allow connections with those characters. And speaking of smooth transitions, let's talk about Bioshock. Bioshock is by far one of the coolest games I've ever played just because of the atmosphere, let alone the story. Everything in this game just makes you go, what happened here? What happened here? Oh my gosh, what happened? And this is what encourages exploration. You want to know what happened to this almost magical underwater city. Every little bit of world building and storytelling makes you ask those questions and allows you to dig deeper and want to know more. Oh man, I wonder what happened to this guy. Did he have a family? How did he feel about Rome? There's plenty more games like this. Tons of games pose these little questions, whether it's Super Metroid or Five Nights at Freddy's, Call of Duty Zombies or Hades. It's these little questions we ask ourselves, subconsciously or not, that really make a game stand out. Anyway, that's all. Like if you like, subscribe if you subscribed, and have a good life if I don't see you again. See you.